where is Shulk? No, seriously, where the fuck is this guy? He's been missing for what, almost 9 years now? In the meta, at least. In Smash 4, he was touted as Mr. Potential, but if you ever look at like the tier list, he ended up pretty squarely in mid or lower tiers. Womp womp.
Cage.
Wah,
I
wah.
read about did you say want to
Shulk.
4-year-old with Down syndrome
What
being
I
taken
said
from
is
her
you can
mother?
pick anything
How
you
dare
want.
you?
For funsies, I decided to ask the community and some of my friends why they think that Shulk isn't doing nearly as well as he should be if you look at him just on paper. 1. Shulk is kinda hard. I agree. Between his arts and his slow frame data, you gotta play Shulk a little unintuitively to get the most out of him, which can be kind of tough, which goes into the second point. He's really different to pick up. Most of the time when a character gets put on the map, it comes from a top player picking them up for a bit and give their player base a real nice boost. But for Shulk, that just has not happened. Really tough to pick up and use. He's not that type of character where you can just really just spam aerials. And then 3, which is, I think, the biggest one, there are characters who can do his job way easier. With other potent sword characters like Cloud or Aegis, both of them having really good frame data and safety allows them to play a lot more traditional Smash, and it can help their players draw on past experience a lot easier. So when you're playing Shulk 4. Apparently he's boring? Now personally, I think that's some donkey bullshit. He is super fun. I love flying around the stage and just fucking glowing different colors. It's amazing. Honestly, it's probably because Shulk in a lot of matchups has to be really careful with how he approaches. Because of his slow frame data, he also can't mash. Like, you get to do one button, and if it hits a shield, it's a risk to press a second one. With a lot of other characters, you can press that one button, do a second button, and then like the third button is probably that risky point. But for Shulk, he gets one, and the second button is the risky point. It causes his neutral to be a little bit slower than most other sorties, but I don't really see that to be a problem. He mostly just wants to wait for an overextension before he can really get his neutral started, because Shulk, at his best, is played very slow. Until you get a read, and then you go in! But, number 5, I think the most interesting one that I heard was his punish game. And this is one that I hadn't exactly thought about for a while, but it does make sense when you kind of think about it. Shulk has potentially one of the best punish games in Ultimate. But that's the thing though. Potentially is the key word. Shulk's damage and a lot of his combos can be attributed to one art, Buster. Yes, I know that speed is broken and that thing can give you some really nice combos, but if you're really going to be wanting to deal a lot of damage with your combos, and if you really want to get into dial storage, Buster art is a must-have art for these situations. But, again, since his frame data is slow, he has to really guess, and he can't play on reaction nearly as much versus a lot of characters. And if he's wrong, he eats just as much damage as he gives off because Buster also amplifies the damage that you take. And yes, you can switch out of that art, but the minute that you don't have that art, you're now playing death by 1,000 cuts, especially for a lot of characters. If they don't have a good way to box Buster art Shulk, why approach him in the first place? Just wait for it to run out or he puts it away. Because he can only be in one art at a time, it also exposes a game plan of just waiting for him to waste his arts and then capitalizing on the holes that creates in his game plan. But anyway, what do I know? Shulk isn't a character that's just on paper. He's a character that lives and breathes in Smash, and I feel like a lot of people forget that. So, we'll see what happens in 2024. Personally, I think it's going to be a great year for Shulk. With a lot of old and new guard making waves at the local scene, we're starting to see an uptick in results at the high level too. Ooh, I think it's going to be a good year. But hey, what do I know? Besides the point, I've been talking for way too long. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, why are you here? Bye.